Welcome to Khyber Shards, where the sharpshooter feat doesn't work. I am your dungeon master, Philip, and same order, guys. Same order. Eric, Colin, R.A., Casey. Here we go.
And I'm Eric.
I'm Colin.
Who's next? I forgot
That's
the order. Oh, we're using our real names. I'm RA.
I'm Casey.
Got it in one.
Hey, we got it. Nailed it.
That's content, people.
Take that, Critical Role.
We have to edit that out.
Episode 0.5, and you're DMCAing us. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. I'm enabling copyrighted music on my stream from here on out.
Anyway, welcome back. All right. So last time we got to meet and learn a bit about our adventuring party of Ari, the Koravar warlock, Wog, the half-orc barbarian, Ezri, the Kalashtar druid, and Shade, the shifter ranger. Got to see them in some combat training and get a little bit of insight into their characters, their likes and dislikes, and mostly so far their dislike of their combat trainer, Falco de Dineth. But as we ended the episode, the combat training was interrupted by the arrival of Soryn de Medani, the overseer of this particular pod of recruits. So Soryn steps in. Soryn is tall. Soryn is has sort of graying black hair. So it's kind of got that steel coloring to it, and it's long, falls down his back. He has extremely bright, vibrant blue eyes, and his tunic is full sleeved on one side, but on his right side, it's only half sleeved to show the very, very large dragon mark that winds its way up his forearm like a tattoo sleeve.
Oh, isn't he just so cool?
God, why has he got to be so awesome?
He's probably really handsome too, isn't he?
When he walks in, Wog pays attention and punches one of the dummies to smithereens. Just knocks the head smooth off.
He's very handsome.
Did you give a race for this?
He is a half elf. Yes. And you would know that this style of clothing is very popular among members of the houses, scions of the houses. They will wear clothing that is cut specifically to show off their dragon mark. So not a super uncommon sight. He says, Falco, why don't you go have a meal? And Falco looks at him for a moment and then nods and walks out of the room.
I'm going to send a few termites with him.
I like that you're Ant-Man of wood-eating pests.
Outstanding. Soryn nods to you all and says, follow me. That is enough, as I say. Enough combat training for today. We need to talk. And he steps back out of the room and gestures for you all to come with him.
You know that punch is just for your benefit. Okay.
Stop.
So Soryn has been overseeing your training and practice with your powers and things like that. You don't have to decide that you like him, but I would like everyone to I would like to go around and I'd like everyone to tell me of an occasion where Soryn just made you better, either by training or by just making it easier to be here, by being a person to you in some fashion. Soryn is probably one of the most constant presences here for you so far. So we'll give everyone a moment to think. And then I'm going to make Eric go first.
I'm ready if you are.
Then go.
So Ari has always been, since he's been in the program, since you all have known him, he has been afraid of the more offensive style of using his mark. He'll use it to influence people, to make friends, and to protect people, but he was always fearful of the idea of using his mind to attack other people and assault another person's mind. He hasn't gotten into why, but that's been his deal. And Soryn worked for a long time with Ari to get past that fear and work on control, because that was Ari's big fear, was losing control of his ability. And so Soryn spent a lot of time working with Ari on that. So that was a combative improvement, but more importantly, something else that you all know is Ari hates, with a capital H, capital A, capital T, capital E, capital S, hates the dragon marked houses. And when he first came here, hated dragon marked scions. And Soryn, through spending a lot of time working with Ari and showing a certain level of care and empathy with him, softened Ari to the idea that, like, he still hates the organizations, but there might be some decent people within those organizations. So.
Okay. Wog. Oh, I'm sorry. Esri is apparently ready. Go for it.
I'm ready. So Soryn recruited Esri directly. Esri was living in if this makes sense, the geography might not make sense because I'm sort of unknown, but he was literally living in the gutters. His abilities worked there somewhat, so he was getting by there, and he was seen, and that's how he was told about the program and invited to it.
Okay. Wog?
Not recruited in, but the moment that stands out to Wog is an early one. And while we may not have had the closest, as Wog, not only as a character stat, but as a character, lacks charisma, and is not the most engaging of people. When he was first brought, still with the starry eyes, Soryn is the one who told him, "You will be seen one day." And that is the saving grace inside Wog's head, is the idea that maybe not all of this will have been wasted, and there will still be an opportunity to be of some impact in some way, because of that one teacherly statement that just affirmed him for the first time since having been cast away.
All right. And Shade.
When I first came to the program, pseudo willingly, I used my mark on Soryn, which obviously is not acceptable. And instead of responding in an attack, Soryn just asked me to do it again, but this time better. And that was the first time that her mark had been met with that kind of response instead of fear or disgust or manipulation. Just the idea of keep practicing was not something that was familiar to her with this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Soryn ushers you into sort of an antechamber. There's a little dressing room, there's practice weapons along the wall, that kind of thing attached to the training room that you've been in. And as you are putting your practice gear away, he says, I have some news that it is good news, but it will no doubt leave you with some questions. The war is over. There has been an agreement reached, at least in principle. The details will no doubt be some weeks or months in the hashing out, as the politicians will no doubt wrangle over it. But there's been an agreement for a peace conference. All armed forces have been told to hold in their position. As such, our need, at the moment at least, for the securing of resources valuable to the 12 is no more. So how do each of you feel at this news that the war is over?
Don't care. Am I going back to jail?
Wog, you said hurt?
Irked. I am.
Oh, irked.
I am. No, perked. P. I am paying attention. This means I could go outside. There's a chance we're done in here. Mm-hmm. At least, like, we can go do something now. I can go do something now.
Mm-hmm.
Based on
sort of,
oh, go ahead.
Sort of the opposite. Lost. Like, wait, that's it. I didn't learn that much at all.
Based on Wog's response, I'm kind of getting a picture painted in my head of this idea that because Ari grew up on the road and traveling and adventuring and going to all these places, that maybe Ari telling stories about that, like life, maybe caused a bit of a somewhat bond to form between him and Wog, and maybe stories of like when we get out of here kind of talk. And so Ari is also the prospect of leaving here, having been here for, what is it, 4 years now, roughly, that we kind of established. The longest he had ever stayed in one spot before coming here was 2 weeks. So he's got his feet are getting itchy. So yeah, he's excited about getting out of here.
Okay. Now,
mostly fear for Shade.
Yeah.
So obviously, and then whether she is or isn't, it's still the question of, well, what does that mean next?
Does anyone react overtly to what he has just said?
I ask if I'm going back to jail.
No. No, the program intends to still take care of our recruits. We're certainly not sending you back to jail. That would be unfair. You have put in time here.
Take care of?
Of course. Now, I'm sure all of you are wondering what exactly you're to do now. We're going to move into a different phase of training. Obviously, the intention of this program will need to adapt and be reconsidered And with that in mind, we're going to move into a different phase of your training. And if you will come with me, I will explain that a little further.
Wog stands up immediately.
And he walks to the door of the antechamber and opens it onto the passage outside.
I also follow quickly behind. Okay.
I'm letting Eric resolve this look on his face because I'm
No,
not sure.
Ari just takes a beat before standing up because now he's confused. Like, he thought the war ends, they don't need soldiers, we're done, and now it's not sounding like that. So
Mhm.
Ari
While Ari
does.
takes that beat, Wog turns to him. Come on.
All right, I'm coming.
You know, when he said take care of it first, I thought it didn't mean kill.
Wog is already out the door.
Yeah.
Didn't hear that, but he's already out the door.
He wouldn't kill us. I mean,
I
I
mean,
don't think he would.
any of them.
He
would
sure
kill
does.
us.
Do we?
Guys, where are you?
No, you.
He's not going to start until you get in here.
He is not wrong.
All right. I mean, just keep your eyes open in there. And Ari starts heading for the room.
Okay. Once you have all joined him in the passage, he begins leading the way, ushering you down the hallways of the. This is a massive facility, by the way. When you guys are, this is just a genuinely gigantic pyramid that hovers 300-400 feet above the city of Korth. So the inside of it is a labyrinth, and you guys are have probably only ever been on a couple levels of it. A lot of it is not given over to this program. A lot of it it's a gigantic office building, and there's research and development and office space and that sort of thing, in addition to covert illegal paramilitary organization. So he begins leading you through these winding passages. And as you are going down, you are free to, Soryn is a person you can ask questions of. I want to establish that Soryn is a person that you would feel comfortable asking questions of. This is not like, it's not quite like the principal walked in while you and your buddies were playing at recess and asked you to come with them. So if your character would be asking something, feel free to do so.
Wog wants to, but keeps opening his mouth and closing it because there's so many questions, and he just hasn't spoken that much recently, so he doesn't know where to begin.
And as you walk, you pass intersections with other passageways, and glancing down occasionally, you'll see another pod of recruits being led by their overseer. The overseers all wear a badge, by the way, that I failed to describe on Soryn. It is a brooch, and on it there is a tower, like a castle tower, with a crack running up its column, and the whole thing is wreathed in flame. And the title of the sort of organization that operates the Blackwheel program that Soryn and others of his rank use is Rekindler. And so you begin making your way down.
Are all these other groups being led in the same direction?
No, they're all being led led to different areas.
Okay.
I would definitely be asking questions.
Are there any particulars you'd like to ask?
Where are we going?
Well, for now at least, the combat aspect of your training is behind you, and so we're going to be moving our students to different quarters within the facility that are more suited to classroom and other sorts of training, as the new world and this world at peace will afford a lot of new opportunities for the houses, but not all of them will involve combat missions, as we were generally expecting that we were preparing you for. So other tasks, security and retrieval, and goodness knows, there's all sorts of things left behind in old Khyber that may need retrieval in time to come. But as we adapt, we're going to need to generalize and broaden your training a little bit as we proceed.
Okay. So we're still a part of the program, and we're still being prepared, and we're still together in this group.
Of course, yes, Shade. We will keep you together in this group. Never fear.
Does this mean book classes?
There will be some of that, yes.
But I guess to all right. Ari is fluttered.
If we don't currently know how to read books, is that something that would also be taught in the classes?
We can certainly take care of that.
Wait, what?
How many of you speak Elvish?
Let me tell you. No.
Yeah, I probably need to talk to Philip about this. I kind of just took some random languages without
okay.
knowing which languages my character would actually know.
Sure. So in Eberron, so the standard sort of old language in most D&D settings is Elven, but like many things, Eberron twists this a little bit, and the standard sort of old language in Eberron is Goblin, because most of the continent where you all live was occupied by the Decani Empire that was ruled by the various Goblin races. The Eldian Reaches, on the other hand, are a little bit different, and so the Eldian Reaches is a slightly more, I guess, traditional fantasy world, where you would encounter a lot of fey creatures potentially, and one of the main druidic societies is led by a sentient tree, not like an ent or something, but just a tree that is sentient and is their archdruid, and that sort of thing. So it's a little bit more traditionally fantasy. So Elvish would make a good deal of sense.
I did take Elvish.
So that makes perfect sense. I assume you got Common. I don't know what else shifters get off the top of my head, but
I took Common. Well, I guess I don't take Common. You have that automatically.
Yeah.
But Elvish, Orc, and Sylvan.
All of those actually make a good deal of sense. There's one of the largest. Yeah, all of those make a lot of sense. One of the largest druid organizations is primarily made up of orcs, called the Gatekeepers. And so a lot of druids that you would encounter probably would speak Orcish. So I would say actually those make very good sense.
Awesome, thank you. And I speak Elvish.
Okay. The reason that I ask is then, Shade, you would be hearing Ari kind of muttering under his breath, and obviously Soryn would also understand, because most half-elves in Eberron have developed this kind of, I mean, the only real world analog I can think of is like Spanglish, where a lot of times, especially when Ari gets flustered, he will start oscillating between languages without really thinking about it. And so, Shade, you can hear him muttering, just confused and like trying to work through what in the world he could possibly be doing working for the Dragon Marked houses if it's not to be a soldier. But it's half in Elvish, half in English. So to everybody else, it just sounds like Ari's saying an English word here and there, and then muttering, and then another English word comes out. So, or common.
English, that's very exotic.
That'd be hilarious. And I just took French as my other language.
Mine was Hebrew. I don't really understand.
Like Afrikaans.
So you take another turn and begin moving towards down a hallway that at the end of it, you see a pair of large double doors that have the Rekindler badge on them. Normally, most of the places in this facility have the symbol that you've associated with the program. And this is a big, I mean, it's called the Blackwheel program, and I didn't make the Blackwheel organization up. So it really is just a big wheel with spokes representing the dragon marks, or the dragon marked houses. And the motto of United Aim written through the spokes. So you kind of get the impression you're moving towards a different portion of the facility here. And as you approach, a side door opens and two figures walk out that you immediately recognize. One of them is a tall, taller than average human woman with rich auburn hair and a bright purple aberrant mark that covers the left side of her face and crawls down her neck. You would all immediately recognize this as Thora Tavine, who is sort of the original member of this program. She is the person who proved that this could be a thing that worked. Ezra, you might be aware of her. She was a Brellish soldier before she joined the program, left the army when her mark was revealed, and is... This place probably doesn't have recruiting posters, but she would be on the posters. Okay, so you recognize her. A half elf is walking next to her, who you also recognize as a member of her team. Her team is the Howling Commandos, the X-Men of this program, and his name is Dan. He is probably particularly notable to Wog in that, like Wog, Dane was a member of one of the houses. He was born into House Deneth, and when his mark manifested, was removed from the house and surrendered to the program, much like Wog was. And so Wog might see in him sort of an opportunity to rise, sort of the opportunity that Wog is looking for. So I want to know an awesome story that you have heard about this team that these two are on that may or may not be true. Okay, but talked about among the younger recruits. You don't have to give me any details. Like, it can be they did this. And that's a story you talk about in the cafeteria or something like that. The exploits of this team. So someone give me an example of an exploit of Thora Tavine's strike force.
This is not quite an exploit, but it's rumored that they have their own special training room that no one else is allowed in, and they have just like a circle of like different like wizards and the different magic users controlling all the various aspects of the room, and it's just bonkers what they go through.
Awesome. Any others?
Like the Ender's Game training room.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I heard that they were in Droam on a mission against some of the monstrous races that live down there. And they were surrounded by 15 Minotaurs, 3 Medusas, and 12 Trolls, and wiped the floor with all of them. I'm not saying it's true, but it is awfully specific in the numbers to be made up.
Just kind of think it was awfully specific in the numbers to be true.
I heard that they can use their marks together, like that their magic in the marks can play off of each other, and it creates a different effect.
Awesome.
Mm.
DM takes notes.
Ah,
Paired marks.
The DM will remember this.
Like a Fallout message. They will remember. Everybody liked that. Oh man, I don't know. Mine was far too close to that. I was going to say that they can transfer to each other the ability to use one another's dragon marks for an attack.
That's awesome.
I heard that variation on it too.
So we're just going to sit and trade back and forth.
I heard-
Yours is probably more probable, though. And now that I think about it, I think yours is right.
I heard they did that to get out of the spot in Droam. That's what I heard. Is that's how they did it.
Stop trying to make our thing your thing.
But it is. I think he's right. I remember that too.
That's the way I heard the story.
Who has the highest insight modifier?
Not Ari.
I would guess Esri is a good contender with 5. Anyone beat 5?
I was shocked mine was
Be a
positive,
skill.
to be honest.
It's going to be under your skills.
I'm pretty sure
I
yours
got
doesn't,
+1.
if I remember right.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to use my online character sheet.
That's okay.
So I will find that and then tell
Same
you.
Z's. I'm learning how to use a character sheet, much less online.
Esri. We're going to stick with
Hello.
Esri here since 5 is
Mine's only 2.
fairly high. So I'm pretty sure it's Esri. Actually, I'm sure that Wog is not proficient in insight. So
No.
you notice, Esri, there is something about Soryn's posture stiffens a little bit as Thora and Dane turn and start coming down the hall towards you, just sort of on the other side of the hall to pass you. And you observe that there is some kind of look passes between Thora and Dane as they move towards you all.
A negative look, a formal. Sorry, are they becoming more formal towards each other or hostile towards each other?
Thora and Dane look at each other in a way that is a sort of ready.
Oh, between those two, there's.
Yeah.
I see. I'm sorry. Okay. There. I'll probably just try to pull us back. Like if I see that, just kind of be like, you know.
And as you do that, you observe that a pair of guards are following along behind you. There are a pair of Dennis guards following along behind you, and you don't know when they arrived. But as you sort of look back to sort of draw the others back a little bit, you see them.
You could have a -1 modifier for insight and notice that Ari just tensed way up and looks like he's ready to run at the drop of a pin.
Are the guards looking at us or at?
Make an insight roll. First
Ooh,
roll.
we're rolling.
The first roll.
Ooh.
All
Look at
see the
you.
guards?
Well, that means Ezri's
You
the
all
main
see the
character.
guards. Yes,
so
you all see the guards.
everyone else get ready to be supporting role.
And these
What?
19, total of 24.
Wow. Good
I
start.
I think you noticed something.
They definitely were, and then they very, very deliberately aren't looking at you.
They were looking at us, and
They
now
were
deliberately
looking at
aren't.
you, and now they very deliberately aren't.
But they're still following us.
But they're still following.
Okay, so flavor wise, as
I'm
Esther,
gonna add. ahead.
tapped to hold y'all back. I was so close up to Soryn that you didn't make contact, but I'm now noticing between you stuttering everyone and Ari tensing up to fall even with you, I'm falling a little bit back to try to see what y'all are doing 3 or 4 paces farther.
Quick point of order. Esri has telepathy, right?
Yes. He has the ability to speak into anyone's mind that he can see.
We probably would have discovered early on that we can talk to each other without moving our mouths.
Ah.
So just something to know, because I have one-way telepathy, but since you also can respond,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Episode 0.5 retcon. Here we go.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
I've never
almost
played
certainly
this-
an ability you guys would have worked out from just picking up stray thoughts from each other at some point, even if you didn't reveal it.
Yeah.
I'm going to just Soryn.
Soryn looks back. Yes, Esri. Or he doesn't actually look back. He tilts his head a little bit, but his eyes stay on Thora and Dane. Yes, Soryn?
So, Esri, did you communicate to us what you
No
observed?
panic.
That's what you communicated to us?
No, I'm panicking. It's not. There's no. You know when someone's about to like hit something in your car, and instead of saying like turn right, you go ah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's that.
So, Shade would react to this because she's feeling very threatened, and so she would cast Thunderclap.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Now, that emanates directly from you, correct?
Let me find out.
I believe that it is so.
I'm sorry, it's Thunder Wave. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Thunder Wave. Okay.
Not Thunderclap. Yes, not the same thing. Now, I technically already used it in our previous training.
That's fine. We weren't counting mechanics. We were just narrating.
The office visit was a short rest.
The office visit was definitely a short rest. Okay, so this sweeps out from you. So which direction are you targeting it?
The
Everyone
guards.
is at the guards. So you turn and you
Yeah.
cast this at the guards. Awesome.
Yes, they're watching us and following us.
All right. So for the rest of you, and your mark is covered, so no one sees your mark glow. So there's no preamble. It's just you turn. Is there a physicality to this? Is it hands go out? Does she stomp? Like what causes this effect, or what's the physicality of Shade when she does this, when she uses her power?
It's a very distinct series of events. I imagined Esri making that noise of, gasp or panic.
Mm-hmm.
And so she just turns around, and this is going to be hard to do while holding down shift to speak at the same time.
I think if you just
but
tap shift,
essentially,
it will unmute you. Nope, I'm wrong.
so essentially she turns around and it just looks like this.
Okay.
She is
So for the rest of you,
startled and wants them to go away.
So for the rest of you, several things happen at once. Shade turns, and this rumbling, shaking in the air rolls out from her towards the guards. Soryn turns at this sound with a look of alarm on his face. And it is in exactly that moment, as if it could have been planned, that Dane and Thora move. Thora reaches down to her belt. A pair of glowing daggers sort of form in her hands, and she just flicks them out, They fly past you all towards the guards who need to make a save. So they're going to make a Constitution save. And boy, I don't know what your save is right now, but unless it's like 8, they failed. So I think it can't be 8. These guards are both sort of thrown backwards. And Casey, roll 2d8 damage for me, because Thora's knives may be irrelevant here, depending on what you just did.
I believe in you, Shade.
I love it when a PC takes a cool NPC's action away from them.
Yeah,
You can
I do too.
absolutely
I love it so much more than the
accidentally
reverse.
murder these guys. I kind of hope that the first kill of this campaign is totally accidental. Like just a full-blown
I rolled
reaction.
2d8 for 7.
For 7. Okay. So both
And they
guards
are pushed 10 feet away from me.
All right, so they're both thrown backwards down the hall. And as they're sort of in the air, these 2 daggers sink into their chests, and they hit the ground, not moving. At the same time, Dane turns, and you see Dane also wears a shirt with one of its sleeves exposed, but it exposes his entire full arm covering aberrant mark, which sort of flares to life, and he just swings, and a wave of force, not that dissimilar from what Shade just did, slams into Soryn and flings him against the wall. He hits the wall with an audible thump, and you hear that horrible sound when someone falls badly and their head hits as it hits the wall. And he just slumps to the ground, unconscious. The 2 guards are obviously dead.
Wog turned to follow the blades, but too late to see what happened back in front of him. And so it's the sound of the crack that turns his head back, but doesn't see where any of that came from, because it happened away from his line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go towards Soryn.
Okay, you run towards Soryn. What's everyone else doing?
Esri will put himself in front of Ari and Shade,
Okay.
and then sort of wonder why he's doing it.
So, Wog, as you crouch down by Soryn's slumped form, he's still breathing. He doesn't appear to be bleeding badly. There's a pretty bad knock on the back of his head. And Thora looks at the rest of you and says, I need you to trust me right now. You need to get out of here.
Where's the door?
How?
Follow us. And Dane starts running down the passage.
Wait. And I'm going to go over to Soryn and try to pick him up.
You need to leave him.
Why?
He took such good care of us.
Ari kind of snaps in the smoke. Let's go. There's no time.
Torn back to Soryn. If Ari is saying let's go, I'm going.
I'm going with the people standing. That's okay.
Esri. And then, why not? Ari, says in your mind, Esri, come on. They've given us a way out. We gotta go. Soryn belongs here. We don't.
Are the guards armed?
Yes. Each of the guards had a longsword.
I'll pick up both. I'll grab both of those.
Okay.
And hand one to Wog.
probably a good call.
Thanks.
The last choice.
All right, so you start following Dane, and Thora begins running after you. Dane runs down, turns, the door opens again, and as he's starting to sort of shoo you through, the door slams shut again. And you turn and you see Soryn sort of picking himself up off the ground. And his mark is glowing, and he reaches down and draws a wand off of his belt and says, "That was an error, Tavine." And you hear clattering, and you see some more guards come around. And she looks back and says, "Dane, go." And you see Soryn begin to cast a spell, and he directs this wave of energy at Thora, and you see the mark on her face and neck suddenly glow really intensely and then burst into flame. Dane slams his fist against the door, and the door shudders, and then he wrenches it open and says, "We have to go." And you see Thora turn and draw her blades and begin running down the hall towards the guards. Now,
Ari's going. Let's go.
We started this to follow. I'm going to continue along behind Dan.
I will too.
Ezri is
At Ezri's hesitation, Wog stops and turns back.
go where?
out
Alright.
here.
Yeah, and he'll follow.
So you are pelting down the halls, following Dane as he runs back and forth through switchbacks. There's an exit. It's a sky dock. It's going to be a little dodgy when we get there.
What does dodgy mean?
Less dodgy than what they would have done through those doors.
Wog has been running with the tip of the blade, just like dragging behind him, and he pulls it up in front. I'm like, let's get dodgy.
You go around several corners. Through several doors, you hear screaming. And in a couple of places, you pass bodies in the corridor, both Deneth guards and in several places, people who are obviously recruits in the program, perhaps that you know. Dane sprints past all of them. And finally, you come out an open door, and you see essentially a hangar with a number of skiffs parked in it as Dane runs out. And as he runs towards one of the skiffs, shouting for you to follow, a line of guards appears and rushes to bar your way. And I need everyone to roll initiative.
Oh, snap.
And that's where
Shade,
we're
are
going
you-
to pause again.
Oh.
I was getting my dice out. Come on, man.
Well, you can wait 5 minutes until we're recording again.
Till the next episode. So this is what it's like to be on this side of
That's
that.
right.
Oh man, this is way more enjoyable.
So hope you're still enjoying. We thank you all for watching. And if you'd like to know more about the Geek Pantheon, Eric, do the thing.
We are on Twitter and Instagram at The Geek Pantheon, and we also have a Discord that you can find on our website, thegeekpantheon.com, or down in the description below this video. There will be a link down there as well. You can also join our Facebook group if you want to join the conversation over there. Just search for The Geek Pantheon, and we have a Patreon, patreon.com/The Geek Pantheon. If you're enjoying this show or the other videos on the channel or the podcast or anything else that we do, go join our wonderful community of patrons. That's their generosity that makes stuff like this happen. So yeah, and that's everything, I believe. Oh, twitch.tv/the Geek Pantheon. I stream Tuesday, Sunday, 8 p.m. Central. Way too early on Saturday, 7 a.m.
Oh, that is way too early. You can also see Colin stream in places.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SorryBTR, as well as twitch.tv/SorryBTR. The O is a 0.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. You have now met Iro, one of
Hi,
the
Iro.
several animals that will almost certainly make cameos over the course
100%.
of this time. But thank you again for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Ba-da-ba-da.